go to Parliament now and talk about issues of the one that is in focus now has to do with Ken Ofori-Atta's censure, the public hearing that's ongoing, and whether or not we can get him out as the minority and even the popular famous 98 parliamentarians have gone up to do. Benjamin Opoku Aryeh, Senior Programs Officer at the Parliamentary Network Africa. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
Is this your first time here?
No, this is my second time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the quality of human resource in terms of this time. We have a very unique situation. It's a hanged parliament, never been seen before. That's right?
Right.
Never been seen before. But the quality of human resource in terms of the work that is being done in Parliament, the addition of, if you like, whatever it is that we need them to add to. You have, I'm sure, studied over time. Talk to me about the quality now in the current unique situation that we find ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. When it comes to Parliament, of course, the issue of effectiveness, the issue of capacity and human resource always come up, not just for Ghana, across the continent, across the globe. But you see, Parliament, of course, plays a very critical role in our democratic dispensation, and so whatever they do, it's kind of, they drive the society that we live in by way of the laws and the policies that they pass. Yes, of course, there has been some debate about the quality of MPs or even the criteria that we use to admit or for a candidate or for citizens to be able to stand as an MP. Should we hold up some educational qualifications, or should we count on their professions and all of that, right? So the work of Parliament is in such a way that it matters, or it borders more on practices and procedures and conventions, right? And most of these things, it takes time to learn them. Whether you've had a PhD, whether you've had a master's, or you're a fisherman, or whoever you are, when you get to Parliament, it takes some time. It requires that you learn the practices, you learn the procedures for you to know. So, well, whilst the learning is ongoing, some may catch up early, some may not catch up early and all of that, but we shouldn't forget about the fact that the work of Parliament, which is passing laws and which is deliberating on the issues they are doing, there is also the issue of the executive's influence on Parliament, right? That's also the other issue. So yes, the question of the capacity of Parliament or the human resource of Parliament can always be questioned, but I think that Parliaments are doing their best with the little human resource. Of course, there is always the need to, beef up the capacity of Parliaments. Parliaments across Africa have always been in need for capacity building and all of that.
The issue of procedures, practices, conventions, I can understand. Probably that could be seen even on the floor more in terms of debates and all these other things. But when you find a one-term MP, like, let's say, for instance, I get to know of what he has done, Honorable Xavier Susu, I'm too sure you have studied each of them. Currently, 5 members bill in Parliament, private members bill in Parliament. It can only tell that the quality is seen in the person rather than in terms of even, because procedures, of course, no matter how astute I am as a professional, I'll get to learn that. But the quality in terms of what is added is what I'm talking about. I know you are playing safe, but I'm saying that over time, after studying it, is it what you have seen? Do we have, you said yes, there's room for improvement, but this, I'm talking about this Parliament, the hanged Parliament and the situation we find ourselves in, the quality of human resource. Answer that question, sir.
Yes. I understand. And yes, of course, when this Parliament, from the start of this Parliament, right, we had a lot of expectations, right? By virtue of the uniqueness of this parliament. So some of us thought, oh, well, it's good, we are going to have some accountability, minority is going to help, and all of that. But since then, up till now, we can't really say they've lived up to that expectation. Indeed, we can't really say that, right? So I think that, yes, there's a lot that MPs need to do. Of course, to a large extent, they've disappointed the people of Ghana, but I think a number of them also are doing well. A couple of them are also doing very well, and so we are still hoping that they live up to the expectations for which their constituents voted them into power.
I see. That one is a conversation for another day, because they go about promising heaven on earth and then they don't deliver and blame people. But let's focus. I'm too sure you are prepared for this, so I don't want to go outside the box. Is that what it? Is that the case? Let's talk about the censure, the motion for censure against, Ken Ofori-Atta. Is this the first time we've seen something like this? The history.
Yes, per the history, we are told that a similar thing has happened, right? And in fact, coincidentally, on the same day, right? Yes, on the same day, right? I can get the extra details later, but on the same day, which happened, but not in the same vein, right? And so that was for the president or the president for the person to resign, right? But in this case, we want this is a vote of censure for the president to actually relieve the minister of his position as a minister of state, right? So these are just the differences that we are told that has happened.
I see.
Yeah.
How interesting is that? Now, again, while we were gearing up to see the minority start this process, we then heard of some 80 MPs who had walked to the president or had, of course, addressed the media calling for the resignation of the finance minister. And then they had talks with the president, they came back, and then they had opened up. Now we understand they are now 98, how many more added? 18, right? Added to it. And this time they will even boycott the budget reading. Beyond all of this, how interesting is it? And they are not also ready to join hands with the minority to go on with the vote of censure. How interesting are these circumstances, especially when somebody wants resignation, the other wants censure?
Yeah, so I think it's really the politics of it that we are seeing clearly play out in Parliament. Of course, from both sides.
Both sides?
Oh yes, I mean, you would have the one side saying, well, the people want you to resign, and of course, as the representatives of the people, we stand by what they say, and so yes, we are also saying you should resign. Of course, whatever is going on in the country, we are all witnesses, and so just go and resign. But the minority also believes that, well, we have started a process, and so we really want the minister to vacate his seat, which of course requires a lot of procedures before you can do that, right? And so, well, I even heard majority saying, well, we are also on this side, but we are really not speaking the same language as the minority, which really I don't see the difference here. We all want an action to be taken, whether the minister resigns or whether he vacates or the president dismisses him, right? It comes back to he leaving his position. So I think that it is just a matter of not really wanting to say, well, minority, majority are one, and so we want one MPP member, having booted out of his position and all of that. So, okay, we'll do ours and you also do yours and all of that. I think it's just a matter of the game playing in there.
I see. Interesting.